We're going to talk next about Tsao Guochiu. Tsao Guochiu is the newest of the Eight Immortals. If we want to throw up that picture, Anthony, it's the next one. And you can see here, he is the aristocratic member of the Eight, thought to have been a brother of an empress dowager. He represents the feudal nobility, and he's also an ascetic who has no interest in the mundane. He's usually pictured with a imperial cap and a jade tablet. So when you look at this picture, you can obviously see that he's, you know, an older gentleman, but he is wearing that cap. And you can see in the background on the picture, he's got some scrolls and stuff. You see in these novels, they describe the scholars as always having a backpack or a sack with scrolls and writing utensils. So this is kind of this artist's interpretation of Cao Guojiu, which is with the writing scrolls in the back. He's wearing, of course, the jade hat, but he's also, this isn't the type of person you see hanging out with other people. So he's just alone, kind of sleeping on the side of the road. So that's kind of a cool interpretation of him. The legends are, there's a few around him. I picked one to talk about. He was a noble who didn't really care about politics, which was kind of cool. He had a brother, though, that was always immoral and loved exploiting his royalty to get what he wants. He tries to convince his brother of his wrong ways, but when it doesn't work, he basically surrenders and leaves to live in a cave. There's another version of the story where his brother takes the wife of another man and kills the man, and to keep it quiet, Cao tries to have the woman killed. And then the gods save her, and then he tries to have her killed again, and the gods save her again, and then he has the realization that what he was doing was wrong, and it's kind of a self-improvement tale. So there's different kind of tales around this character. But in this one, he leaves, goes to live in a cave, and while he's meditating in the cave, Dongbin and Zhongli Quan visit him asking what he's cultivating. And he responds, the Tao. When they ask him, where is Tao? They also point to the heavens and say, where is heaven? Guochiu points to his heart and says, basically points to his heart, and they respond, your heart is one with heaven and heaven is one with Tao. So basically indicating that he's more, to use a modern term, he's woke. Tsao Guochiu was the most woke of the Eight Immortals in terms of his mortality, and because of that, they give him a secret of becoming one in harmony with nature and induce him into the Eight Immortals. A fun fact here is that even though he's the most relatable to nobility, he also is not venerated without the presence of others of the Eight Immortals. So even though he's the one that's most connected to the aristocratic families, and they're the ones who connect most with him, it's also not a singular thing to venerate or worship, which is kind of cool. In terms of the nods to Xianxia, there's lots of stories in Xianxia where immortals descend and leave behind a cultivation manual or a technique to the main character. This is basically a nod to the story of Tsao Guochiu being taught a cultivation method to achieve immortality of sorts. So I thought that was a really cool thing, that so many of these stories play off of each other, and so many of them are inspired by various different things. So he was a really interesting one, especially with regards to a lot of the themes you see in modern day Xianxia.